Hello there, and welcome back to International Fathers. I'm your host and your creator, Nelson Amuda Sr. As we last capped off our last show last week, I had a guest of mine, Skyped in from Baltimore, Gerard McFadden, how he talked about the importance of a father in his life, and also he touched on the uniqueness of a father that he had that raised him, that wasn't his biological father. Sean Weston was a guest of mine on July the 3rd. And he raised Gerard McFadden from about the age of 5 years old until he got to be a grown man. And at the end of that interview, I asked Gerald what one word would best fit Sean Weston, his dad. And he told me independent. I told him, I said, well, what about his fatherhood? He said compassionate. So those two words alone just did something to me. Also, fathers, if you had the opportunity and a chance to visit your child or children, call them, and you haven't done so, with no one or nothing stopping you or blocking you from seeing or you visit them, I need to know why. I want to know why. Because you are very, very important in that child's life. My guest today is a guest who I've met, and his story is just so interesting and unique. And I know for a fact that it happens every day around the world. Divine Rhymes, he's a native of Chicago. So all my Chicagoans out there, y'all gonna raise up today and call in at 470-251-4443. Benjamin Pierce has a creative magical works of art with his poetry and his message that everyone can adapt to. Divine released his debut album on June 2016, which is a testimony of his life. And for those who know what a testimony is, back in the day, they say that you can't have a testimony unless you have a test.
Facts.
Facts. Now, we won't go to church today, however, we can. And that is never thought he would see 27 years old. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. He continues to be a role model and speaking knowledge and uplift people. Divine Rhyme is a perfect blend of Western and Southern hospitality as far as his music is concerned. Midwest. Okay.
Chicago be mad at me if we said the West.
I don't want to hurt Chicago. I don't want to, y'all know what I'm talking about there. Anyway, he's a father, a brother, a son, a mentor, and he's a genuine friend. I'm going to introduce him to some and present him to others. Divine Rhymes out of Chicago. How you doing, sir?
Blessed, brother, and yourself?
I am wonderful. Welcome to the show today, sir.
Man, thank you for having me.
Over the course of our conversation over the last weeks, when I first met you, some of what you said just resonated. Like I told you, in my own lifetime of me not having a dad, but being that positive dad in my children's lives, that part resonated with me as it resonated with you based upon what you're saying. And before I go any further, when I was reading your bio and the things that you've accomplished, I thought about, and I hope it's a compliment to you, the artist that I thought about putting you on the same, I guess, side by side would be Lenny Kravitz. Okay.
You know what? That's interesting because my style, Lenny definitely influenced. You know, he's an influence as well.
Okay.
Definitely. So that's interesting. So that's another side of me that most people actually don't even catch.
Okay, well, I like to, all my potential guests, I like to do as much homework on them as possible. So when I get them on the show, I can feel some connection, or either I can feel like we've known each other for 1,000 years. And we may have known each other for 1,000 years for some, and some I could have met just 3 days ago. But I try to do all my homework so that my show can run smoothly, so I can have that much more information about my guests, and then they will say to themselves, hopefully, that this hosts have taken an interest in wanting to know more about me before I came on the show, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Lenny Kravitz is what I got from you. Another artist who I put on the side of that would be Jill Scott and Lauryn Hill. You know, those three artists I just combined and say to myself that this is who you remind me of.
You know, that's an interesting trio right there.
Okay, right.
That's interesting. Lauren's Lauren. She's amazing.
Right.
In what she do, especially when she shows up on time. I love you, Lauren. But yeah, Lauryn Hill, Jill Scott, I definitely listened and studied their craft growing up. Not so much Lenny, but I guess the rock star aspect of Lenny, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or not even necessarily rock star, but the free spirit aspect of Lenny. That's definitely Flies like my all-time favorite song by him.
Okay. Well, I have one guest today, but three artist spirits resonates in him as far as I can see and what I've studied and what I try to make as a real insightful and thoughtful conversation today. Now, I'm going to go back to fatherhood. I love being a dad. To me, I've always said it's the best blessing that ever been bestowed upon a man besides God and a spouse. And we're here to talk about you, your fatherhood, your dad, and all those good things, the positive stuff about it, if you'd like to start off talking about it.
Yeah, sure. So, for me, before I even jump into that, let me just to set the stage per se.
Okay.
So, I'm the oldest of 5.
Okay.
However, I'm the only child conceived out of the union of my mother and my father. My mother and my father, they married. They was married for a year and a half, and the best thing came out of that was me.
It's you. Okay.
Father remarried, had 3 more children, very beautiful children. Mother remarried, had another beautiful son.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and the duality of being the oldest in 2 separate households on 2 completely separate sides of the nation, because my father and the 3 siblings up there, I got 2 brothers and a baby sister. They in Chicago,
okay.
And then I'm here with the brother that my mother had here in Atlanta.
Okay.
So that's being big brother over 1,000 miles away.
Wow.
It definitely has its moments.
Okay.
It definitely has its moments.
But you're still connected.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still connected, even through and through, even with my own personal trials and tribulations, just life, being a young man trying to find himself in the world, not really knowing much about anything.
Okay.
And I still knew that I'm my brother's keeper. I definitely thank my mother for that, because she installed that in me as a young age, that I'm my brother's keeper. And I apply that to all of my siblings, despite the circumstances that may have been, even those circumstances that could have made it challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I still, in my heart of hearts, was like, I'm not going to give up on y'all.
Okay.
So
dad, 5 children, 2 different places. Dad involved with everybody.
Well, like I said, my stepfather.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have the blessing of having my father and my stepfather in my life.
Okay.
My stepfather, he was more in my life, I guess, because I'm naturally living in a household with him.
Okay, got you.
So and my father was back home in Chicago.
Okay.
And I found myself in that same kind of similar situation with me being a father now. My son lives in Bronx, New York, and here I am in Atlanta. So to father from a long distance is definitely, I could say one thing about me being a father now, it definitely made me reflect and look back and even check myself on some things.
Okay.
Because it is a challenge to try to be a parent to a child that's halfway across the nation.
Okay.
So it made me sit back and reflect, and it humbled a lot of excuse me, humbled a lot of things, made me see things a little bit more clearer. You know, I guess that comes with maturity.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So dad, 5 siblings, 2 different states.
Yeah.
And you
my biological father had 3 more kids, and they're in Chicago.
Okay.
And my stepfather had a child with my mother, which is my brother Lavelle, who lives here in Atlanta.
Okay, so the dad who, I'm gonna say it lightly, loosely, raised you / lived in the same household with you. This was the one, of course, that the bond is with. This is the one where you got a lot of male, I guess, input in living in the same household.
Yeah, naturally, yes, because of the, I'm in the same household.
Right.
And that's not to discredit my biological father.
No. Okay.
You know, by no means necessary, any means necessary. Even like I said before, even with the trials and tribulations of life and the situation, because, and I'm quite sure we get more into it a little bit later on in the interview, the little bit more the depths of my background.
Right.
And with that, it was tough, man. It was tough. And being a young black male coming from the west side of Chicago, and then moving to, but before we moved to Atlanta, we moved to Georgia, but we moved to Riverdale.
Okay.
Then Rex.
Okay.
Georgia.
Clayton County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was complete change of scenery. It was a culture shock. I moved here in '98. I've been here back and forth since then. I'm Shy Lanta. I'm a city boy with
He said Shy Lanta. Okay.
That's just what it is. Shy Lanta.
Got you. Okay.
That's just what it is. Because, you know, just looking back over it, you know, everything, life wasn't a crystal staircase. And it was definitely, you know, negative moments growing up, naturally, that we all experience. But there were some good moments. There were good moments. And whether if I personally would want those, or feel like those good moments could have been more, or could have been executed in a different way or whatever, yet and still I'm grateful for what they were and what they mean to me and still do.
Okay.
Because, and that's why I say with the maturity come in, because, and to everybody that's listening, man or woman, especially if you're a parent, we grow up with this ideology that our parent is perfect, and they're not. They're literally still human,
right?
Like us.
Okay.
So when you remove the title of being a parent in that sense, you know how kids are like, why my dad didn't do this, or why my mom didn't do this, or whatever the case may be, and you try to understand it from a standpoint like, okay, let me try to understand them for who they are as a human being. So that way I could get more understanding of what they do and how they did it.
Okay. Whether
if I agree with it or not, at least I can understand where their mind was at. And that is a common level that we all try to connect with no matter who we meet. So I feel like, and that's something we could apply to anything in life.
Now, you must have been in my house yesterday when I was thinking about something. It came as a sudden random thought. Now, you just said something and I don't know if you'll debate it or not. However, that's going on to where as though you say your father may not have done or your mother may not have done. I believe that children do have certain expectations when it comes to their parents.
True.
Okay. So we won't debate then.
Yeah.
Okay.
We naturally have expectations coming with anybody who we interact.
Okay.
So that's just kind of like a universal rule of thumb life kind of thing.
Okay.
You go to the grocery store, you expect to get groceries. You know, even here with the radio show, you know, you expect certain things from whatever business you conduct, so on and so forth. So it's expectations happen all the time in life.
Gotcha.
It's just applying and shifting the consciousness that, okay, I have expectations towards my parents or towards my father, mother, or whatever your situation may be. And are my expectations are real expectations to the person that I'm interacting with?
Okay.
Because you got to think, put stuff in proper perspective. I'm 30. I turned 30 this year. So my parents had me that was 88. My mother was 19. My father was 21. The West Side, Chicago during that time, that environment, it was rough.
Okay.
And then put things more proper perspective. How was their lives growing up? What was their influences? So on and so forth that could have shaped them to be the people who they were. And then naturally, when we reach certain ages, like when I turned 19, I was thinking like, man, like this is the age my mama had me at. And well, I don't know if I can use profanity or not.
Hold on for 1 second. We're going to take about a 10-second break right quick, and we'll be right back with Divine Rhymes. And we're back. International Father Says Status Network, Atlanta, Georgia, with Divine Rhymes. As he was talking about Chicago and his parents and stuff. We're going to get back to his story. We got to let him finish this out, and then we're going to get back into what I call the meat of our conversation today. And for all you dads out there watching, I want you to listen attentively, especially if you haven't made that phone call to that child or children. And if you haven't hugged that child or children, I want you to listen to this attentively. You were saying about Chicago.
Yeah, so when I turned 19, I realized I didn't know shit at all. Like, naturally, yeah, there's some maturity, wisdom there, but at 19, you really don't know enough to really face the world.
Okay.
So I'm seeing, like, I don't have a kid at 19-year-old. When I was 19, and I'm saying like, wow, but my mother had me. So on top of about to exit your teenage years to really fully enter adulthood, your 20s, and you have a child, it's your first kid, you don't know what to do for the most part, no matter how much you may prepare for it. And in retrospect, do we ever really know what to do? It's something that you just had to experience. It's one of those things, it's one of those lessons that life teaches you when you go through things. And I reflected upon that, and even saying fast forward now, me being a father, I reflect with my own father on the same thing. Like, I'm a father now, so it's like, here I am 30, but my father had me when I was 21. When he was 21.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I would have been a huge baby if he got born at 21.
Now, right. How do you feel? The call number is 470-251-4343 against Status Network here in Atlanta, Georgia. How do you feel? Did you feel? Of course, you're a father for the first time. What was it like for you, I guess, in retrospect of you being a son to your dad, to your fathers? What was that feeling like?
It was a dichotomy.
Okay.
It was healing, but also kind of painful in the same, because like a poet, like I heard a poet say recently, having to give my son something that I feel like I didn't receive myself.
Remember, he's a poet, y'all. So all you poets out there, I know y'all gonna be relating to this right here. Go ahead, sir.
So and with that, it's a certain type of nurturing, it's a certain type of guidance, a certain type of just understanding of that I always yearn for, and honestly, just being transparent, still do to this day. And it's still a work in progress. But you know, being the oldest and you seeing it being carried out with your younger siblings, and you're like, hey, what about me?
Okay.
But you can't do the whole woe is me, because at the end of the day, no matter who you are and what life had taught me, no matter who you are and what stage you are at in life, whether be it young or old, you are responsible for your own life.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
So I just celebrated my son's 6th birthday, July 20th.
Okay.
My father drove from Chicago to New York. He was there with me. And that was even healing within itself, because it was like, at the end of the day, here's 3 generations. I never would have thought I would even have that experience. I didn't even plan for a son.
Okay.
Like, I always wanted a daughter.
Okay.
That's the crazy thing about
Okay.
it. I always wanted a daughter. I was the kid in high school thinking of baby names.
Okay. Me too.
I mean, because I was like, I'm not, my child's name is going to be meaningful. And everybody was like, so if you have a son, what you going to name? I was like, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll just let the mother figure that out. Fast forward, in retrospect, in our reality, that's literally what happened. Because I didn't name my son or anything like that. You know, especially due to the circumstances and the way how, you know, what happened. But yeah, and still, it was like, I never would have thought.
Okay.
I never would have thought. It's just you just sit back and you just realize that you can know everything, but yet still know nothing. Because even though we have God within us, and even though we are God like, we are not ultimately God.
No.
It's God's
Far from
plan
it.
through and through. So, and that's been my North Star throughout life. And finding those things that bridge is like, oh, even right now in this moment. And when I say, like, and the reason why being a father is so important to me is because I've lost too many kids I could count.
Okay.
I've had 2 abortions, too many miscarriages I could recall. My daughter, I have it tattooed right here on my arm. Her name is Amaya Renee. Amaya means night rain, Renee means new beginning. So it's a play off the biblical saying, weeping endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning.
Okay.
So the energy that is my daughter is the protection before, during, and after the storm. When I obtained self-love for the first time in my life last year when I turned 29, I even understood more as to why my daughter's not here.
Wow. So how old would she have been?
If I was to go from the first time, she'll probably be, it's 2018 now, she'd probably be around 7 or 8.
So then you could be probably still...
Actually, maybe a little bit older than that if I give it more thought, but yeah.
So you're probably still healing from that loss.
I mean, yeah, you know, when Father's Day came around, at every job, it was bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's acknowledging fathers, you know, who have kids.
Right.
But nobody ever speak about or even is concerned about the fathers who have lost their kids. Even before the opportunity of even them coming into the world existing. Because you got to think, people have miscarriages, there's premature babies that doesn't make it, so many things.
You're right.
So many things. But that does not discredit the shift in the man taking ownership and responsibility to that seed and wanting to be there every step of the way. So I feel like you fall in love with your child long before the child even comes to this world.
Of course.
So and that's and naturally with Father's Day, it I never forget.
That's how I felt years ago. Father's Day. I didn't have mine. That's why I felt fathers coming to the school, fathers coming to my sports events, fathers coming to any award ceremony. I remember the year, I believe it was 1976, where I was in weightlifting competition. And everybody who won first place got tickets to see Sugar Ray Leonard fight. I was in 123-pound class, and I won first place, so I got my tickets to see Sugar Ray. But out in the gym, all these fathers out there, and I'm knowing that mine wasn't there because I didn't know. And then, like you said, Father's Day, I couldn't relate to that. Last week I was sharing with Jarrell of how in elementary school and some of junior high school, which is now they call middle school, when you're writing down your parents' information, I got the father's name, I would put unknown. Unknown. Because all I knew was a nickname. Not just that, I was embarrassed to even let anybody know I didn't have a dad. And some of my friends had this. So, I mean, the hurt is definitely enduring and it's long. It's time heals all wounds, they say. However, there was still a part of me that was somewhere up in there that I couldn't grasp. You have fathers coming to your events. What happened to mine? Again, the call number is 470-251-4343. You can talk to and ask Divine Rhymes questions or talk to him if you know him and talk to him.
Yeah, y'all call in. Yeah, y'all know I'm easy to talk to. I'm lovable. Everybody likes me. If you don't like me, well, then there's something wrong with you. Get your life right. Spirit.
Now, fast forward it. Your son. 6 years old.
Yes.
You want to tell her about that?
Yeah, so, you know what's crazy is that with me being who I am and what I do and the path that God got me on, I've always wondered more so about speaking about certain things in my life. Not so much for me being afraid to speak on it or anything like that, but more so how the people involved will feel about the information being revealed. So, and throughout my entire life, that's been my experience, being my truth being silenced, so another person's truth, BS,
okay,
you know, could be saved and sanctified, but it's like, but what about me? Because it's so just diving straight into it. I didn't have the pleasure nor privilege of seeing my son being born into this world.
Okay.
I didn't know he even existed, and the way how I found out was, I feel like it's a way that no matter who you are, it's a way that nobody should really find out about their kid. Yet alone the situation that was going on during that time. The woman I was dating at the time was literally miscarrying. because we was literally trying to have one, even in the chaos of our relationship. That's another reason why I have Amaya tattooed as well, because she done came to me in so many different ways, but still not here.
Okay.
But in that moment, I literally handed my girlfriend at the time my cell phone so she could guide herself inside the house. And as soon as I hand her the phone, a notification comes through Twitter. And mind you, that's a platform still to this day I'm not on.
Okay.
I just get the notifications. And literally in the moment, like, I hand her the phone, she holds it, she turns around to the door, then she turns back to me like, so you possibly have a child while I'm losing one? And it was real heavy, because she was literally in the process of miscarrying. And it was even more heavy is because the one thing for her that she wanted the most was to bear my child.
Okay.
And it just never happened. So, and then on top of it, when we was good, we was beautiful, we moved mountains, but when we was bad, we was toxic.
Okay.
So having all of these dualities, all of these things that goes into it, and I'm just sitting there like, what now? Like, baby, I'm not lying to you. Like, I know I done lied about some stuff, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And about 2 hours later, and a lot of fussing and fighting and shoes thrown at my head, you know, it finally clicked. Like, he really doesn't know. He really doesn't know. And from that at that moment, my son was, if I recall correctly, I want to say he was already, I think, anywhere between 3 to 6 months, something like that, possibly. Somewhere within, at most a year. At most a year. But I think anywhere between 3 to 6 months. So he was already born, he was already here.
Okay.
So, and it didn't help that the situation on, you know, with the mother of my child, and that's one thing I would definitely want to point out real quick, pause for the cause. Brothers, stop calling the mother of your children, your child, baby mama. Because you speak things into existence. And the same for the women. Stop saying baby daddy. That's the father of your child. That's the mother of your child. You have to give respect in order to receive respect. Even if you feel like it's not going to be given back to you, it ain't about that. It's about doing what's right and what's righteous, because God see everything. Let God cash out the bill and the blessing for you. Don't try to take it into your own hands. All right.
Amen,
play.
church. Go ahead.
No, I say that with purpose.
I
say that with purpose because the first 3 years was hell. I did a lot to try to be involved in my son's life. Just try to get a DNA test to even see if he was my kid. There's been numerous situations that had transpired, but the mother wasn't cooperating. And then that situation blew up. She moved back to New York. A year later, she has this traumatic life experience. And this is why I said what I said, because God got his hands on everything.
Right.
And I can only speak from this perspective because in regards to be a father, I don't know how to be a father, didn't know how to be a father, yet and still everybody around me was like, you will make an amazing father. Because I naturally love kids and I naturally love the youth, and that's just always been me. So and from that's where the accolade came from. Okay. So getting back to the story, so she had this traumatic experience, and from that, it was complete, not 360, but 180. From that, she was willing to get the DNA test. Okay. Got the DNA test. Her last words that she said to me, definitely, it took a long time. Like, I'm really just healing from that hurt and that pain. And that was fully healed Easter this year.
Okay.
And it's like, and thinking about it, and it's crazy because, but it's also beautiful. Because I never would have thought that her involvement would be what it be between us. We're good. We have a dope, in my opinion at least. And if you're watching, hey, you know what I'm talking about, 'cause I already called you, shout it.
Okay.
But
it's getting better.
Yeah, it's definitely getting better. It's and just to see her growth. And she's older than me.
Okay.
She's older than me. When we met, I was in my 20s. She was already in her 30s. I think she was like 31, 32 at the time.
Okay.
So, and it's like, where is that now? It's a complete shift.
Okay.
I never would have guessed, assumed, predicted in a million years that I would be at the stage where I'm at in life, excuse me, with this thing. And to even be more honest, because I'm just transparent like that. What was that? April 4th, last year, 2017. Because December 2016 is when she had her traumatic experience.
Okay.
That instantly shifted everything. She was more involved, more open. The whole thing is like, hey, I just want him to have his father in his life. All systems go.
Wow. Okay.
Like full steam ahead. And for me, I wasn't ready.
Okay.
And I wasn't ready, not saying necessarily in the respect of wanting to be a father. I wasn't ready because I have yet to grow within myself as a man. Because you gotta think about it, like I told you.
Say that apart. Say that again, real slow for me.
I said I wasn't ready, not in the sense of wanting to be a father.
Okay.
Because I've always wanted to be a father, but I was not ready because I have yet to grow within myself as a man.
Now, a lot of people, I'm going to say males, but a lot of people, period, won't admit to them not being here when they should be here. A lot of people won't admit to their growth is stagnated. Their growth is everywhere. Their growth is not here. A lot of people will not admit to that.
And see, and that's the thing, because it's like, even with admitting to it, that's why I tell everybody, like, my life is just like this door.
Okay.
It's open.
Gotcha.
And I feel like when you have that transparency, one, you relieve a lot of pressure and stress, because you're not holding that in, first and foremost, so you're able to release. Then two, it shows maturity. And then three, you declutter. Because if you're holding all of this in, if you got all this stuff in your hands, how can you hold the blessing that God got for you?
Okay.
You can't hold nothing. God's like, here. But I need you to put all that down first. You know, Erykah Badu got a song Bag Lady, but it's a lot of men with a lot of baggage too.
Yeah.
Just being honest. So
it's a guy. It's not a guy. It's a father out there that's watching, that's listening to your story, in particular to how you found out a child was yours after it was born. You got involved. You didn't shun away. You didn't step back.
Oh, wait, let me finish up on that.
Okay.
And the only reason I stopped you right there is because, like I said, I had to grow within myself as a man.
Okay.
Like I told you, last year when I turned 29, July 2nd, 2017, I obtained self-love.
Okay.
how could I be of service or even love my son? How could I ever say I love anybody from my mother, my father, past relationships? How could I ever say I truly, like in the core heart of hearts, say I love if I didn't have self-love for myself?
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things where I knew it's not the, when they came down, I got the DNA test, but I didn't send it off until December of last year. I had a lot of growing to do and a lot of healing within myself. And still at this time, there was a lot of trials and tribulations that was going on just in everyday life. And still, even between the relationships that I have with my parents, with my mother and my father. So it's one of those things where it's a lot of dualities right here.
Okay.
But I knew I won't be able to tackle on anything until I get me right. What do I have to lose? I've been trying to do it and been failing epically.
Okay.
I mean, I've made progress. There's been good days. There's been times I got huge accolades, but I know within myself, like, nah, bro, you could did better. But not knowing how to do better. Oh, duh, self-love.
Okay.
And when you obtain that thing, and everything for me is spiritually based, and I specifically say spiritually because I don't claim to be the brightest crayon in the bunch. I don't claim to be the smartest guy in the room or anything like that. But I learned what I've learned through interactions like this, everyday conversation, and just the obvious. So there it is. And something in me said, work on this, because I knew I needed to do that. And sure enough, when I obtained it, it was a full, some people call it catching the Holy Ghost.
470-251-4343 is the call number. We have about 5 minutes left. 470-251-4343. You also a poet.
Are we almost done? That was cool.
Can you give us something right quick? But before you do, I'm going to reverse what I normally do. If you know a father out there and you'd like to see him on International Fathers as a guest of mine, send in a 350-word essay about why he should be on here, along with a short bio and your contact information to NelsonMoody@gmail.com. That's NELSONLMOODY Senior SR@gmail.com. Fathers, call your children. Children, call your fathers. Fathers, hug those children. And children, hug those fathers. We're going to let Divine Rhymes take us out with some poetry, and he's also going to add some additional information about his next shows.
All right. Just real quick, how much time do we have left?
5.
5?
Yes.
All right. So just to close up on the father thing, just real quick, like I said before, it doesn't matter where you are at whatever stage you are at in life. A lot of these mothers that I've grown to know just want us to be present.
Yeah.
And that's really it. They're willing to start at a base level to establish the genuine connection. So just be present. Try. Nothing beats a failure than a try. Okay, poetry. If you ever see me on this Ave, just know I'm not pushing slabs. Don't give my people what we need, because some of us lack what we should have had. Word stays on this tongue like tabs, possessing the gift of gab. The square roots of the truth times divinity equals the Trinity. Please do the math on the corner. But some of us dance to the radio hymns of Tom Joyner. But some women is well dressed, giving our bonus to the hustlers, serving those street loners. But we love it like drifting those cars on Turnpike, living life on the edge without any concern, like a gambler every time we roll these dice. There are some lessons we all have to learn twice. But with every lesson, there comes a blessing. no matter how much you are stressing. New levels, new devils, kings, queens always make progression. Trials and tribulations are nothing short of the Most High's testing. So when the devils come against you, use her as your weapon. God.
Bless you, sir. I'm going to also give you this token of my appreciation. It's a sketchbook and is a diary pad. Because you're an artist to write, and you also use sketch, and you also have some ink pens.
Wait, look at God when he do it. Like, for real. The power of manifestation, for real. Seriously, like. We're going to talk more about that
about
afterwards.
A minute left. Tell us where you're going to be at.
Find me on every social media outlet. That is Divine Rhymez. DIVINE-RHYMEZ. If you're currently here in Atlanta, you come out to Apache Cafe tonight. My good friend Gray, he's the host. Starts at 9 p.m. Also, if you can't make it to that, you can also catch me here. I'm not here, but at 10 ATL, Red Storm, Chicago. Free open mic as well. Just hit me up in the DM, follow me, and I give you all the information you need. Peace, love, and happiness. Oh, last thing. The decisions we make, the paths we take. If you made your bed, you gotta lay in it. If you dug a ditch, you have a choice to get up or stay in it. Everything in life is nothing but a choice. So for your own safety, people, please choose wisely.
Wow. Deep. Until next time, International Fathers.
Peace.